thing that you need to know about hunting squirrels and rabbits is you need to know their habitat, you need to know their feeding habits, and so learning about your quarry is important. We have two different types of squirrel species. We have the red fox squirrel and we have the gray squirrel in Iowa, and then we have the cottontail rabbits. We also have jackrabbits in Iowa, but that is a closed season, so you'd be basically starting off by hunting cottontail rabbits and squirrel. So as far as squirrels go, their habitats pretty much evolves around their feeding habits, which is off of nuts that fall from acorn trees, walnut trees. So you're going to look for mature timber tracts that are going to be producing bearing nuts, and that's where your squirrels are going to be. Squirrels tend to live and burrow into trees, create hollow holes. That's where they live. Some squirrels will build nests out of leaves that'll be in the crotch of a tree. A lot of times they'll be very high up in the tree. So as you walk through the timber, you'll be able to see some of these nests. And so those are places where you're going to look for squirrels. As far as rabbits, rabbits prefer more open country, grassy areas that are surrounded with areas that maybe have shrubs or brush, especially edge effect, where you have fields that have shrubs that are grown along the edge of the fields, or just the brush piles in general is where they like to be. And typically they feed off of plant material, vegetation, and as they get into the winter months when the vegetation turns brown and you don't have that good lush green vegetation, they'll also feed on woody plants. And so both of these animals, small game in Iowa, are very abundant, especially in the early season. Later on in the season, they do get preyed on by predators and us as humans, and so the population decreases as you get closer to the winter. So your best opportunities for hunting rabbits and squirrels in Iowa is going to be in the early season, and you're going to look for those areas. Some things that you can think about is maybe doing some scouting. Find some private ground if you can. Find somebody that's an avid rabbit or squirrel hunter, go with them. They may already have locations where they have their favorite spots and they're willing to share those with you. But if not, you can look on the DNR website for places to hunt. You can look at aerial maps, look for areas where there's going to be grasslands, brush areas. A lot of public hunting areas here in Iowa provide those types of habitat for rabbits and squirrels. Use aerial maps to find timbered areas for areas to hunt squirrels. And so those are all just resources that you can utilize, but pre-scouting is a must if you're going to do some small game hunting. And it gets you outdoors and gets you a chance to scout the areas before you go out there. So let's talk a little bit about some of the equipment that you might want to use for squirrel hunting. As far as firearms, a basic 22 rifle like this one here would suffice for squirrel hunting. Even a 17 caliber rifle, a small caliber rifle. You want something that's going to be a smaller caliber rifle just because when you shoot the animal you don't want to destroy the meat, and so a smaller caliber bullet from a 22 or a 17 HMR would be very good choice. Also, if you want, you can use a smaller gauge shotgun. This is just a single shot 20 gauge shotgun, and you can use a 410. So probably a 410 or a 20 gauge shotgun is probably a popular choice if you're going to choose a shotgun. As far as ammunition for a shotgun, you're probably going to look for bird shot in that 5 to 7.5 shot range. So you want that smaller shot size, and that'll be sufficient enough for shooting either squirrels or rabbits. If you're going to hunt with a rifle, you want to aim for headshots, and that may seem inhumane, but it's actually not. It's more humane. The animal's that you're harvesting is not going to suffer as much, and you're not going to destroy the meat if you're doing headshots. You can do the same thing with a shotgun. A shotgun is a little more forgiving. You're going to have a pattern. So especially hunting rabbits, when they're being flushed and they're running, you may want to use a shotgun. But a common firearm for hunting squirrels is a rifle, but people do use a shotgun too. If you are going to be hunting squirrels, a lot of times these squirrels are going to be in trees. You got to be careful with a rifle. shooting into the air, you need to know what your background is going to be. As far as chokes on a shotgun, you can use anything from like a modified choke to improved cylinder, something that's going to open up your pattern a little bit more. You don't want that full choke. That full choke is probably going to put a majority of the pellets into the body of that animal, and then you're going to destroy the meat. And the end goal is to take something home to eat, fresh from the wild. So those are kind of the basic firearms that you can use, a little bit on chokes, but you need to learn some of that on your own and play around, maybe do some patterning with your shotgun so that you know the pattern that your shot pattern is going to be with the different types of shot that you're going to use. Some other equipment we have here, just a fanny pack. I like to take a fanny pack. This one also is a hand warmer. It's kind of nice. Put your hands in here when you get towards the later season. And you can carry different calls if you want. Once you get more advanced into squirrel hunting, you can get squirrel call, and you can carry your ammunition in here. It's a good place to carry a bottle of water or some snacks if you're going to be out there all day. So fanny packs. For most squirrel hunting, this is a turkey hunting vest, but I sometimes take it because it has this nice seat here. It's a nice thick cushion. It unbuckles, and so if you're going to be squirrel hunting, most of the time you're going to be sitting on the ground. It's nice to have this nice cushion seat here for you to sit on most of the day. A small chair that sits low to the ground, like a predator hunting chair that you can buy at most sporting goods stores, works really well for sitting on the ground for long periods of time. Okay, so those are the basic equipment that you can use for squirrel and rabbit hunting. So let's talk about the hunt. Let's talk about squirrel hunting first. So if you're going to get up, squirrels are going to feed early in the morning. So the best time and the best activity is going to be in the early morning hours. So if you can get a chance to get out and get into the timber early in the morning, right as they're feeding, and as you get into the timber, you're going to walk in and just find a spot. It doesn't have to be anything special, and you're going to sit down. But the object is to be very quiet. If you're going to squirrel hunt, you got to sit quiet, you got to sit still. So having a comfortable chair to sit in, low to the ground, or some type of a turkey vest that's got a seat to sit on the ground. You may sit there for 15-20 minutes before you ever even see a squirrel. Rabbits, on the other hand, that's a little bit different. Rabbits are flushers, and you can hunt rabbits alone. You can hunt rabbits with a group of people. You can hunt rabbits with dogs. I know several folks that have beagles that they hunt rabbits with. But it's going to be more of a flushing activity. You're going to look for areas of grass and brush piles, hedgerows, things like that. So you're going to start off your hunt walking through the grass, maybe in a zigzag pattern, trying to flush these animals out of their resting areas or their feeding areas. You're going to stomp on the brush piles. You're going to be next to maybe a downed log or something like that. So you're going to be hunting a lot of these brush piles and flushing these animals. The thing about flushing, though, is you got to be aware of the safety aspect of that. You got to be aware of your surroundings. You got to be aware of other hunters that are in the area. You got to be aware of the dogs if you're hunting with dogs, because those dogs may be right on the trail of those rabbits. So you don't want to end up shooting your partner's dog or your own dog. So these are some things that you got to be aware of as you're rabbit hunting. And the object is shoot these animals and as humanely as possible. And as I indicated before, if you can aim for the head, that's going to be a quick, humane kill, and you're going to save the meat from being destroyed by either the bird shot or the rifle ammunition. So these are just some of the techniques that you can do for both squirrel and rabbit hunting. It's a great activity. It doesn't cost that much. You don't need a lot of equipment. You don't even really need any of this equipment here, except for, of course, the firearms, to get started. So it's very inexpensive. It's a great gateway to get you involved into hunting, and you'll see that it's very satisfying activity.